What's up, y'all? I'm back. Not that anybody would care. Hopefully you do, though. Uh, that was a crappy year. A very crappy year. And I couldn't stomach it. There were other things going on, and I wasn't necessarily here for it. But I will say that I didn't have much fun this season. I did realize that part of the reason I didn't have as much fun this season is because I didn't do this. I didn't stay as in tune to the game as I usually do. I was just taken out of it. Now, I mean, we usually have bad seasons. I've been out of it before, but this is terrible. This is hard to go through. It's hard to watch. I know it's hard for you to watch. It's hard for me to watch, and it turned out bad. That being said, we're here. The off season is going to be incredible. Off season. It's exciting this time again. Last year was nerve wracking, and this time it's a little more exciting simply because we have the number one pick, and there's so many things we can do with it, so many ways that we could see a silver lining for the summer to come, off season, and into the next season. Pardon me, I'm gassy, but so we'll look forward to that. But before we get into that, let me just get annoyed real quick. We did it again to him. We get in, we start Kenny Pinkett when we should have started Aiden in the first place, but technically I guess it's his job. He's supposed to be next up in line. We start him. People are excited. I went to the game, by the way. And people were excited. They were clapping in the crowd. They were like ready to see him do something for whatever reason. I was like, what is wrong with y'all? This dude stinks. And he went in there and showed exactly how much he stinks. Immediately. The first thing he does is say, see, I told you I don't want to play here. Other team takes the ball. And then he follows that up with a sack. And then he follows that up with what was almost a safety. Thank God he didn't get a safety because we would have lost or at least tied. Who knows? We'd have probably ended up winning because we were doing better when Aiden's in there. I mean, that's just what it is. You know, and it's going to sound like I come back and start right back on the Aiden train, and that's the only reason I came back. But that's not true. I was going to come back as soon as the season ended, no matter what, because I knew it was going to be a good off season. It's going to be a lot of speculation, and I love to speculate. I don't want to get involved with some of that, right? So, yeah, I came back. I didn't know Aiden was going to start, or that if he was even going to play. Pete Carroll said he might go with both quarterbacks. He never really said anything definitive to me. And then when we got there, Kenny Stinkett was the starting quarterback. So he goes in, stinks up the place, gives the other team an extra possession and the lead, and then we call in Aiden O'Connell, and then all of a sudden the offense tightens up. We end up getting loose a little bit for Ascendenti. He had one of his best games this right here because we had a quarterback who the other team had to respect a little bit. Who the other team said, oh, he can throw it over the ball over 20 yards and make a completion. We can't just back up. Or we can't just go balls to the walls with our linebackers. We just wait for their quarterback to make a mistake once he gets the ball. Until then, don't let the running back do anything. And then when Aiden gets in there, he hits Mayor Deep, and they realize, oh, we got to pay a little bit more attention, I mean, did he have a great game? No. He was 10 for 22, but no picks, no fumbles, no turnovers in him out. And that's when you lose. You play bad football, you play football that is not smart, like Aiden plays, and you lose. When you play smart football, you don't throw interceptions. You protect the ball. You go in for your X, and you go off to the next play. And if you do enough of the right thing, no matter how close the game is, you could be the team that pulls it off if you're the team who makes the least amount of mistakes. And we made plenty of mistakes. We had our fumbles on our side too. But we had a quarterback who didn't make the mistakes that their quarterback did. Like, he had an interception and he also got a safety. So we weren't going to win if Kenny Pickett would have played the whole game, right? So we won because Aiden was our quarterback, and he'll get no credit for it, of course, because he's just no good. Nothing happens good to us when Aiden's involved. They had anything to do with Aiden. It was just a coincidence that he was playing the quarterback at that time, right? We lost 14 games in a row, but 10 games in a row, whatever the hell it was. It's too many to count in a row, right? Our starting quarterback for the year mustered up 2 wins the best he could of his ability against one of them against the Titans. And the team is in a doldrum. Yeah, they want to play, but they want to win. This is a motivated team to win, but they still feeling it. It's still the same team that they know they have been for the last 10, 12 weeks in a row that they lost, but they want to win this one too, just like they wanted to win all the other ones. And you know what? We went out and won one. We were losing the game when Kenny Pickett was in there. We were behind, and it was looking like one of those games. It was looking like it was just time to sit back, relax, drink, and hope you miss the worst plays going to the bathroom. But this game turned into an exciting score after score. Though those scores be field goals, at least they were scores. At least the game had some ups, some downs, and it ended with a victory for the Raiders. And that happened because Aiden O'Connell was the quarterback, but nobody will care. Nobody will care because we got the number 1 draft pick. And that's it. You got the number 1 draft pick. You got to draft a quarterback, hands down. That's it. That's all you have to do. If you are the number 1 pick, you draft a quarterback, and then it's on and popping. You end all the sadness of your franchise. Never mind, the whole Raider fan base complains constantly about our offensive line. Never mind the fact that, we don't have a coach or offensive coordinator. Don't think about any of the things. Those don't matter. What matters is that we draft a quarterback. And the quarterback that they're suggesting, was it Mendoza? Fernando Mendoza, I believe is his name. He's had 1 good year in college. One good year in college. We've seen this before. We've seen the 1 good year in college. Let's get him while he's hot, and then all of a sudden he's not. Right? We can go back. Let's just go back to last year. Drake May was supposed to be something. I mean, he came out doing all right. Who else is supposed to do it? I mean, Bo Nix, he's doing it, but will Bo Nix be doing it without Mike Shanahan? No. Was Caleb Williams doing it? No. Did he have a good year this year? Yeah, much better year. Why? Because he had a coach and a better offensive line, and they knew how to make things work for that kid. That's why he was the coach. That's why he came to the team. All of that. We should not, as a fan base, be enamored with having to have a first-round draft pick quarterback to the point that we will take any first round draft pick quarterback anytime we get the first round pick or the number one pick, no matter what. And this guy basically is in the same book that Kenny Pickett was in. He had one good year. He was the only one available. They were hard up for a quarterback. They went all in. And that's what they got. What they got is what we have, and what we have just through went 1 for 4 with an interception, 2 sacks. So we should go chase that. Let's go chase that. I mean, I'd have been much happier this year if we went and got Shedeur Sanders, who's doing well enough to be considered a decent enough quarterback that you can try to start building behind him too, if you really care to try, But again, I haven't done the numbers yet. I will, but I don't believe that Shedeur Sanders' first, I guess, what did he start? Maybe 8 games? I don't believe his first 8 games were too much better than Aiden O'Connell's first 8 games. And I'm going to go back and get the numbers about that. And I'm not discounting Shedeur. He had to go through a lot. And, Server Bob, if you're watching, you were right. Shedeur is a talent. I never thought he wouldn't be. But he did more with less than I thought he would be able to. So, there's that. But with that being said, hopefully we'll see what kind of coach we get. If we get an offensive-minded coach, maybe they will go for that kid, Fernando. If we get a defensive-minded coach, hopefully we go after something strong on the defense. Because that's what we need. We need one more crazy person on our defense. I mean, our defense did well this year. I mean, compared to all the other things that we went through, our defense was reasonably good. They got tired. They got beat up. They couldn't handle it no more for the rest of the damn season, the whole season. But it's the same thing. So I don't think the defense did a bad job at all. But that doesn't mean that again, going back to a quarterback to draft. Even if I think our offensive line isn't that bad. I really don't think our offensive line is that bad. But everybody seems to think they're terrible. I think this is a product of bad coaching. Because DJ Glaze and Michael and what is that? JPJ. They took a step back this year. They were flourishing last year. They both took the job of veterans who have been around 4 or 5 years, stepped into their position and did it better, improved our offensive line. And then Pete Carroll and his son, who's our offensive line coach, step in, and we regress as an offensive line. And the 2 standout talents we had from the year before have a far worse year and are placed out of the positions where they were most successful. So we have a decent offensive line. I believe the players, I've seen them, we've all watched them work. We've seen how things go bad, but bad scheming makes people look bad. And I believe that it's more about bad scheming because we can just look at the way they handled the talent that they had, or should I say mishandled, as far as our line goes. But that still doesn't mean we should run out and get whatever quarterback is available, because I can't even say decent because he's only had one good year. And we'll see if it's a really good year when he has a national championship game. We'll see what he does on the big stage against another team with good defense, blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't also endorse the fact that if he had 500 passing yards in the national championship game, that means he's got it. He must have it. Look at the game he had. one decent season and what could be one good game in the national championship game, and Raiders just running to get it. It like I said before, C.J. Stroud has destroyed the starting quarterback position for rookies. You got to get in there and get to the playoffs, or you stink. And then it didn't happen. And then Jaden Daniels came in and made it worse, made it look like it happened again all the damn time now. But it's not that. It's not. C.J. Stroud had been in there. He had proven that he'd do that year after year in Ohio. Jaden Daniels had a couple of good seasons before he flourished at what he did in the last season. He had been building up his career to be what he was and had two standout seasons. But to go in and get this kid just because he's the best there is at this point, just because we have the pick to get him, it's not smart to me, especially when we can secure ourselves in other areas. Me personally, I don't think Pete Carroll did a bad job this year. Our record states that he didn't. I'm not talking about team management. I'm talking about game management. Game management was great. That's what it looks like to have a decent coach who understands game management, because we haven't had that. I mean, from what is that dude? Josh McDoofus to AP. We just couldn't get anybody to figure out how to run a fucking game. Pardon. Because they just couldn't figure out how and when to call timeouts, how to use the clock. It was simplest stuff that they couldn't get right, and Pete Carroll did a good job with that part of it. The team management part, he went with too much nepotism out this mug. He had too many players that he liked and brought on the team because he had good experiences with them, and he thought the experiences that they had would transfer over to here. Now, we didn't have a chance, okay? All we had was Geno Smith and Kenny Pinkett. Stink it, stinks. And we all saw what Geno did. And as a Raider fan, as a Raider lover, I forgive the franchise, man. They did the best they could. No one faulted what they were doing before the season. No one said, don't go after Pete. No one said, your offensive coordinator, Chip, shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be in the league. No one said any of that. Geno Smith had 2 good seasons, so let's bring him in with Pete and we can make it happen. No one said any of that. And I wish I would have had the damn cojones to do the show when it started, but boy, was life kicking in. But I said a long time ago that this shit wasn't going to work. And I knew it from the beginning, and that's why I wasn't surprised. That's why I guess this season sucked. It sucked a little. It sucks less because you know it's coming, okay? You knew, I knew that this wasn't going to work out. I just had to sit there and watch it not work. And if it worked out, if I was doing this, I'd first get on here and say, wow, I was wrong. From the beginning, I said, why are we trying to build a franchise off of 2 people who are ready to retire? What the funk sense does that make? I missed the year. And I can't say that I said that here because it could be 2020 hindsight type speak. But from the Mike and Viking beginning, I said this not going to work. I hope this works. I hope it. I wanted it to work just as much as I ever wanted anything to work. It's not like I was like, ooh, I hope this doesn't work so I could look right about we should have started 8 a long time ago. That's something like that. No pride in that. I wanted it to work. I just knew it wouldn't. It couldn't. The only way it would work is if we made the playoffs this year immediately. And that's the only way that they would get any credit for doing anything. Anything short of that was going to be a failure. And you can't build a franchise expecting that brand new franchise to go to the playoffs. And if they don't, it's a failure of a franchise. Because that's what we just did. We started a whole brand new franchise last year. New head coach, new offensive coordinator, we've done it before, of course, but we did it again last year. And we'll be doing it again this year unless we keep Spytek, which I don't know how much blame they're going to put on him. I hope they keep him just because, damn, we got to keep somebody for more than a year at some point in the history of the damn team. I don't know how well he performed his job. I'm not really looking at what he did as far as who we drafted. Like I said, I've been tuned out. I was pretty mad at myself when I went to the game today, and I really didn't know the first name of a lot of players, and I was like, wow, that's not me usually. So I'm digging in hard next time, and from now on, hopefully, I've misses, I've had my shortcomings. A man not perfect, not even really actually very good. I'm pretty decent. I'm a pretty decent person. I say I'm 78, 80% of a decent person. I'm not perfect. You know what I'm saying? I'm alright. I'll show you. I don't know if y'all recognize that. Yeah. So I hope I look younger, because that's the reason I say it. I want to try to look younger. See, now I'm looking down and see how I look. Anyway, we could have had a better season if we'd have been more frugal about what we were gonna do. More. I think we should have just really realized that that's not a direction. I'd rather us go with Antonio Pierce, because at least it's someone young and we're starting from crumbs to grow, not getting fruit that just it's right before it's spoiled. They take the last bite of a banana that you hope isn't completely spoiled, and then taste like, oh, I thought it was soft. It's soft. It's too soft. This is disgusting. And that's what we had. We had a soft coach and a soft quarterback, and it was disgusting. Outside of that, let me get off of that. Just let's start with the franchise. We don't need daggone quarterback. Not this guy. Okay? If we had the number one pick and it was Jaden Daniels up there, hell, I would take Caleb Williams now if he was coming out. I would take him and take a coach young that might be able to work with him like they did right down there at the Bears, and we could start from there. I thought Caleb Williams was going to suck, and then he did suck. But then the next year he came back with somebody who knew what the hell he was doing. They connected, and they're going through the future. Now, if we get a quarterback guru head coach, then yeah, then fine. If you good enough quarterback guru that you think you can come in with the brand new kid, make him better than Aiden over camp, and have him starting, then go ahead and do that. You know what I'm saying? If you're a real quarterback guru, you should just grab Aiden and let him start. He's a winner. And this is the funny part, sidebar. We probably all listen to the same people, Sanjit and your man Mitch Ritz and Wasted Talent, and a slew of others that are out there to do good content. And they're all hoping that we lose this game. And before it was guaranteed that Geno was absolutely not going to play, and they knew the option was Geno, Kenny Pickett, or Aiden, nobody wanted Aiden to play. Everybody was like, as long as Aiden doesn't play, we got a good chance to lose. What kind of backwards ass compliment is that? They all felt the same way. I want to lose this game, so I don't want Aiden O'Connell to play, because if Aiden plays, we'll win the game, or we could win the game. We have no chance winning if it's Geno or Kenny Stinkett. Everybody's really comfortable with that. But with Aiden, we're like, damn, the people who are the most haterish of the Aiden haters admit that he's good enough to be a winning quarterback, and they're afraid that he will win. Fortunately, we were able to root for our team to win, since the Giants were able to take over the game, were able to take down the Cowboys, which was great for us. But fortunately, that happened where we could actually cheer for our team to win, right? Because then Aiden would have came in, and if we'd have won this game in this dramatic last second fashion, the world would be on his ass for winning. So now they would be pissed off at him if we'd have won the game. It'd have been all his fault, right? But we win the game, and he gets absolutely no credit for the win, and it was an easy win, and who cares? He has more wins than our starting quarterback had. No, he has one less win than our starting quarterback. He's played in one game, and he didn't even start that game. And he was behind the 8 ball going into that game. And he performed well enough for us to win the game. Was he stupid stellar? No. But who's been behind this playing quarterback for this team? They've been terrible. The reason we was losing. And Kenny Stinkett tried to lose the game for us right out the bat, baby. Right to the other team. As soon as he got there. He was gonna take the safety, but then he fell forward and ended up landing out of the end zone. He fell forward and the ball landed on the 1 yard line. He was like, damn, just a little short. I don't think he really meant to do that. But it's so terrible. It looks like he's trying to be terrible, is what I'm saying. And then Aiden comes in. Well, he doesn't look terrible, does he? Well, the defense has to pay attention, because look at that ball he threw to Myers. Look, he's making first downs on the sideline passes. He's not throwing it off into nowhere. We got to pay attention to this guy. Then there was the one time, it was kind of embarrassing, but he ran the ball. It was a 7-yard run. He did a crab roll to get down at the end, but you can get better. That's what football is. That's what any sport is about, is getting better. It's about learning the talents, increasing your skills, and getting better. And if he was better, he'd have got those last 3 yards. If we've been working on him the whole time, we would have made him develop that skill. We wouldn't let him be the second string quarterback without that skill. You would make sure your first string quarterback has that down. You can let your second string quarterback and sit there and not have that down, because you want to spend more time on other shit with him. But if you dedicate your team to this starting quarterback, that's some shit you're going to work on. They don't work on that with Aiden. But if they did, we could have got that first down, because he'd have been more confident about his running, and he'd have slid for another 3 yards. That being said, we still don't just need to draft a damn quarterback. Even if we did draft a quarterback, does that mean he's going to be better than Aiden coming out of college? Why is it that Aiden can be a proven winner and still not be good enough? All right, I'm sorry. I talked too much about Aiden. It all comes back to Aiden. That's the problem. It ends up coming back to Aiden in this situation, because it's so frustrating, because I'm lucky, right? Oh, it just happened because it happened to happen. You weren't right. You didn't call it. It's because you said it was going to happen, and then it happened to happen. You're just lucky that way, right? It's like the whole world is my wife. Every time something good, every time I do, there goes something good. Every time I do something that goes well, I was just lucky that it went that way. It's not that I planned for it, not that I had the skills to pick out the right time. No, I was just lucky. Again, whatever. Again, whatever. I'm done. We can't get Mendoza. We need to focus on building everything else before we try to get a quarterback. Even if Aiden isn't that quarterback, I'm not saying that Aiden is going to be the future of the daggone Raiders. I'm saying he could be. I'm saying he should have a chance at it for sure. But I'm also saying I'm willing to do what we need to do to be a better franchise, and I don't think taking the gamble on the first round pick is what we should be doing. Why wouldn't we try to secure our defense with something like that? I mean, no. I would think that we would just become pick monsters. If we have so many holes to fill, why would we try to fill just one of them? We got the number one pick. We should just become pick monsters. Who want this mug? Who has a need for this kid so much that they be willing to take this? Because otherwise we're going to take him. Which we shouldn't, but we should be able to dangle it in front of them. And if we can't get a decent amount of picks so that the other team will want to get him for a first round pick, what does that tell you about the talent of the young man? Right? So if we can't get anybody to give us a decent enough package that make it worth trading the number one pick, something like this year's number one, next year's number one, and, this year's number two and next year's number two, whatever. Trade up there, get whatever that we want. If there's no team willing to give it to us, then he's not worth it. And why should we spend it on him when no one else is willing to spend it on him? What we should do is just give up the pick and try to get more picks in the first round. Shuffle around in the first round. Look for better players down the road. Look to fill up more holes with more talent than trying to hope we fill one hole with a suspect talent, is what I'm saying. You can't grab a hold of a franchise on a hope and a pick without a quarterback. Without a coach, without an offensive coordinator, and who knows, maybe without a GM. But this is what you're going to hear. This is what you're going to hear for the rest of the offseason. So get ready for them to say we should do them, and get ready for me to say we should not draft them. So that's what you're going to hear from them, and this is what you're going to hear from me. Unless, you know what? And I don't know what he could do to change my mind. Even if he balls out in that game. I'm going to go back and watch more. I watched some highlights. I need to watch more film of him. Because what I've watched, even his highlights weren't all that impressive. It wasn't like he was sliding the ball into small windows. He had really good receivers, and he was getting the ball to him relatively decent. And they're saying he has a tough mentality and shit. I don't know. It's ridiculous to me. But I do think there's better things we can do than drafting that cat. I don't think that's the way to go. I think if we take that route, we're not going to win. And we need to win when it comes down to this draft. Although, can't win them all. The cards get down. Well, when you're looking for the bright side, and that's what I'm going to be. From now on, I promise. Come to the silver lining. Guru out.